Hello there and welcome to Programming Knowledge. So in today's video, I'll be showing you the top 10 most used, my personal favorite VS Code extensions, which I use for my daily personal web development uses. So let's get started. So in here, I have three files. This is a simple web application, that is to-do list application in which you can add the task, and at the end of the day, when you achieve those tasks, you can just strike them out. So let's go to our extension tab, and here I have searched for material theme. Just go inside the material theme, and then you can see here this is the most epic theme now. So you can just set color theme, and here you can see the most different choices we have. That's material theme, then we have high contrast, then we have darker high contrast, then the pale light. So pale light is very much popular these days, and then we have pale light high contrast. Then we have also ocean high contrast, then lighter is very harsh on our eyes. So my personal favorite is pale light high contrast. And then when you open the application, you can see the theme, how it looks. Then one more thing, we have material icon theme. So as you can see in our editor, we have all the files like JavaScript style.css, and there are no particular icons for that. So we can go in extension and we can choose material icon theme and just install it. It will say installing. When it does get installed, it will ask for activating, so click on activate, and it is activated now. Let's go back to our editor, and you can see, okay, we were asked. Let's go back to the extension tab, and we'll go for icon, set file icon theme. Here we have to select material icon theme. And now if you go back to our editor, we can see we have HTML5 for to-do.html, then style.css we have CSS3 icon, and also our custom.js we have JavaScript icon. So if we have different files like Android or Angular or React, you will get all the icons for that files also here and also on top of the files. Next extension which I want to show you is Prettier. So what it does is it formats your code, and it's like code formatter which gives you a consistent style by parsing your code and reprinting it with its own rules that take maximum line length into account, wrapping code when necessary. So there is a particular setting in this which we'll use, so that is FormatOnSave. So what will this do? It will automatically format the code when we hit save. We can go to settings, so you can hit control comma or command comma. So here we got our settings, and in here search for format on save. So we have to tick this because by default it is not ticked, and that will be it. So when we change the code, for example, let's mess up our JavaScript file. So in this, if you give some spaces like this, and then when you hit command yes, that is save, it will automatically format it for you. So this is what the Prettier does. You can go through more of this sort of documentation, like what you want. So everything you will be getting in the documentation of the Prettier. So let's look at one more plugin, that is bracket pair colorizer. So let me just make it. So we have bracket pair colorizer and bracket pair colorizer 2. So we'll choose this one because it increases the speed and accuracy than the version 1. And this new version was released because settings were cleaned up, breaking backwards compatibility. So we'll just install this. Now you can see it is installed. So this extension is for colorizing the matching brackets. So let's open our JavaScript file, and here you can see we have curly braces, and you can see the block of code is bounded by a box of yellow color. And the same way you can go for other functions too, like this is for the inside function, and if you go inside that you can see, and it also matches the color of the bracket. So we have pink and pink, then yellow for yellow, and it bounds it by a yellow color box. So this is very useful when you are coding. And the next extension I'm going to show you is rainbow indent. So that is indent rainbow, and it gives rainbow colors for the indentation. So it helps you for indenting. So let's just install it, and it's now installing, and it is a simple extension to make indentation more readable. Here you can see the example code here. It first gives you yellow, then green, then pink, then little bit dark green. So let's go in this code, and here you can see we have yellow, and then we have a different color, that is green, like that. So it is helpful when you are writing a lot of code. So if I indent it like this, it will give me another color. So this is the use case of the indent rainbow. Now these were the visual extensions. So we'll now look at the functional extension. So first one is auto rename tag. So we'll install this. So what this will do is, when you change the starting tag, starting HTML tag, it will also change the ending HTML tag. So you don't need to go down the block and change the other tag. So it saves time when you are going through a lot of big code pages. So for example, I will give you here, if we change, let's see if it is installed. Yeah, it is installed. So let's change this one, like div, we'll make it span, and if you make it span, here also you can see the span is created. If you make it as div, automatically this will also be made as div. So this saves time, and it is very helpful for the web developers. The next extension is RestClient. Just search for it in the extension tab, and here you will get it. So install it. So it's very helpful for any front-end guy or back-end developer. So when you are working with APIs, so when you want to see what the response of the API is, you can get that response using this extension in the VSCode itself. So usually you use a program called Postman for doing REST API stuff, and that is the external program. But the main benefit of using this RestClient extension is that everything is done in the VS Code only. So I will show you how to do it. So it is now installed. So let me go in my files. So I will create a new file here called request.http. So now I will type a request. So let's type get request, and we're gonna use the JSON placeholder. So we'll type https JSON placeholder dot typecode.com/posts, and now I'll just close the sidebar. So for that we can use Command B or Control B on Windows and Mac. So here you can see a button has popped up called send request. So just click on that, and it will create a new window. Let's wait for that. So our response we received. So we are getting our header. So we had 200 okay. So you can see the JSON file. So JSON placeholder returns 100 post, and you can see the title, body of the post, and user ID. So this is an easy way to test the stuff with the backend APIs. So you can have multiple pull requests in here. So you want to separate them, you can use triple hash, and then we can send a post request, and we'll type the same code. It is https JSON placeholder.typecode.com /post, and we'll set the content type application JSON, and we'll send data. We'll include the title. We'll say new post, and then the body. We'll say this is a new post. So if you send a request again, so we'll get a 201 created, and now you can see ID 101, new post is a new post created, and we had 100 IDs earlier, and now it is 101. And this is an easy way to test and work with the backend APIs. So next extension is, let's go in extension tab and search for CSS Tweak. So this extension allows you to pick the CSS definitions from your HTML files only. So you don't need to go to CSS definitions in the CSS files. So let's just install it. Okay, so now this extension is installed. So this is very helpful if you have a large CSS files and it is very hard to search through them. Then we can use just hit control. Like let's go in our HTML file, and if we have a class like this, then you have to just hit control and hover around it. Then you can see the peak definition, and it will just open a window here, and in here you can just change directly the CSS definition without opening the CSS files. So if you're on Windows, you can just hit control and hover over it, and if you're on Mac, you can just hit option and then F12 to get this window. And you can change, let's say float, you change the color, let's make it like 775. Now the color is changed. If you want to change the font size to 20, you can also change it without opening the CSS file, and you can just save it. Let's go back to our HTML file. So how this works is, let me just show you. F12. So we got this one, we change whatever we want to change, 21, then we saved, and then we just close this window, and now our code is edited. So this is very helpful and speeds up the process. And then that which happens to have a multiple definition, it will tell you to click to show, and you will stay in the same HTML file, and it will pop up a window where we can make altercation here and there, and then after that we can just close the window. So this is very helpful if you have large projects and we have lots of CSS classes and you want to change it over the fly. So this extension helps you to edit your HTML and CSS much quicker. So the next extension is HTML CSS support. So what this does, it helps you for providing the class completion to HTML files. We have to install this. So let me show you a demo. So let's go in our CSS file. In the end, we'll create a new class. So we'll type dot demo, then CSS, and then we'll try something new. So I am making the CSS class name a little bigger so that we don't need to type it again and again. And inside this we'll give color equal to red. Okay, so now just save it and go in the HTML file. So in HTML file, what you can do is you can just call the div using emet. So we'll use the demo CSS try something name has come here. just hit tab and then wait, and then you can just type control space and it will give you the emit abbreviation. Just hit enter. Then you can see our div class with the new demo CSS try something name has been created, and you don't need to type all this manually. So this is very helpful for auto completion of classes from CSS to HTML files. So our next extension is Live SAS Compiler. So let's go in the extension tab and just install it. Live SAS Compiler. So what this does, it basically compiles SAS into CSS. So for this you have to have some settings turned on. So what you can do is you can hit Control plus comma or Command plus comma if you're on Mac. So now you're on, let's see, now you're in settings. So if you search for SAS, you can see all these settings. So click on Live SAS Compiler here. So in here, go in editing settings JSON, and in here you might need to add some settings. So I will just give you some settings here. So this would be it. Just add these settings here. This would be enough for you. So it depends on which environment you are working on. If you are in production environment, you can just set this format equals to compressed and your extension name to .min.css. It's going to minify and compress automatically your CSS files. So you can save path. So my personal preference would be under the distribution directory, I will be having a CSS. So all the JavaScript, CSS and HTML files will be present in the dist folder, and all my SAS file will be in the root directory, in the root that is outside the distribution folder. So all those files are .scss, that is SAS files. So the last settings we had, it generate map. So what it does, so by default it creates a map file which I never had needed to use. So I set that to false, so that it's one less file you have to track. Then you have to save settings and you can just close it. I'll just demonstrate the SAS, and in the root directory what I was gonna do is I create a new folder as CSS folder, and within that folder I'll create my file as main.scss, and then we'll just create some basic SCSS here. So we'll type body, margin as 0, padding as 0, and then I'm gonna just nest. So I'll call h1 and just add color as blue. So this is not normal CSS, this is SAS nesting. So I'm gonna save it, and nothing would happen because we have to create watch first. So what we can do is we'll go in output, then we have to click on watch SAS, and now you can see our output is watching our SCSS files, and you can see our distribution folder is created with minified CSS and also the map file. So if you open with the minified CSS, it has created the minified version of CSS file. So we'll look at the next extension. So it is live server. So we'll go in the extension tab and we'll add live server. So this is again by Tweak Day. So we have already installed it. So what this basically does, it creates a local development server with LiveLoad features, so you don't need to save every time any changes you make to the CSS files or your HTML files, hitting the refresh button again and again. So it will automatically refresh the web pages whenever you save something. So this is very helpful when you're creating a website. And let's go on our HTML file. So I will remove what I created earlier, and in here you can see we have a button in the down as go live. If you click on that, it will create a Chrome window, and here you can see our HTML file is loaded here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I will just close this sidebar and I'm gonna add, let's say, one more paragraph tag here. So just add a p, inside that we'll just pass rm, and then when we hit save, automatically you can see it is live reloaded, and all the paragraph text we had added, it is present here, shown in the web application. So you don't need to hit refresh button again and again. So this is very helpful tool to speed up your website development workflow. So if you are wondering what this application is, it is very simple to-do list application created using JavaScript. So if you want to type like buy groceries, and you can just add it and it will come down here, and whenever you have completed the task, you can just press on it and it will be striped down as completed, like meeting George, buying eggs, are all completed. So I'll give you the code to this to-do list application, and you can download it and you can run it on your local system with the VS Code. So these are my top 10 VS Code extensions that I use very heavily in my website designing workflow.